Why are headshots important? What would you tell an actor or a model why headshots were important? Let's start there.
Okay, so from an actor standpoint, for somebody who is trying to get into the business or wants their face to be on the big screen or on the magazine or wherever it may be, if they want to be the spokesperson or the actor or the actress, the people who are making the decisions for hiring you want to see your face and want to know what you look like in different conditions to know if you fit their role. From an actor standpoint, that's important because you may want to have, you know, a certain look or a certain feeling in how somebody looks. And so a good headshot will facilitate that. A casting director or a director or producer will look at headshots and say whether somebody fits or doesn't fit the role that they're looking for. I think on a business side, a headshot can set a tone for the feeling that you want in your industry. You've talked about it before, where certain jobs, like if you're a lawyer or you're a CEO or something like that, you don't necessarily want to have like a happy-go-lucky headshot. Something you want a little bit more drama, you want a little bit more authority. Whereas if you're a real estate agent or a teacher or a public speaker, you want a little bit more approachability in your headshot. What do you think?
I think you're right, but I also think it's really important to know your audience because we are all multiple things. Like I'm the boss, but I'm also a photographer, and I'm also a mum, and I'm also a daughter. And just like in business, like if you're a real estate agent, you may be representing the homeowner selling the home, but then you may also be a public speaker and in your field. And so that's two different headshots right there. Like when you're trying to sell a home for a client, you want to be approachable, you want to be friendly, you want to be have easy access or feel like people can easily access you, I guess that's the word. But if you're the authority in your field and you are speaking to other realtors or brokers or insurance agents or just other people in the real estate realm, but as the expert, you're going to want to come off and be a little bit more authoritative than friendly and approachable. So when you come in for a headshot, you're not just coming in for one thing. We have to know who the audience is so that we can actually represent you. The first headshots that I actually did were in Hawaii for a real estate company, actually. It was a small mom and pop brokerage. And they actually wanted me to do a headshot of their agent and then go and do an actual shoot with the agent, whatever they wanted, whether it was a family shoot or something. But they really wanted the headshots or the photos of each agent to represent who that agent was in real life so that people could actually connect with their personalities. So I did one on a Harley in front of a subdivision. I did one on the beach with his family. I did one in a kitchen baking because that's what she loves to do with her family. We did one, the guy who was like this, more the corporate kind of people coming over from other countries buying second or third homes and investment properties and stuff like that. We did his photos on top of the garage in downtown Honolulu, so that in front of a really expensive car, because those clients are going to take him more seriously in that power position than in a kitchen baking, right?
They're going to relate to it because they probably also have a nice car and will be
a city person as opposed to a beach or a fam. Not necessarily that they're not family people, but those other brokers on there who were representing their family and stuff. They just had a completely different feel.
I mean, and that is important, that if you are, for instance, real estate agents, which we see a lot of, because honestly, the real estate market is pretty large and it's pretty fluid. So there's lots of people coming and going. But if you are an agent who specializes in, let's say, rural properties, farmland, developed land, kind of your country sort of thing, your photos shouldn't be slick and sharp with buildings behind it and, very crispy, Fortune 500 looking. They should be more rustic. They should be more Magnolia Place sort of thing, where you feel that, versus, like you said, somebody who is selling to folks who are looking for that lifestyle. Yeah, you want to cater that. So it's our job as photographers to make sure that how we're taking pictures of people match their vibe and their style. So,
and not even necessarily their vibe or style, but their audience, because you can be, like I said, multiple things. You just need to know when to use the photos or when to use, that kind of.
Well, if you have somebody and you can take multiple types of photos, then they can present that. And that's coming back to the actor and actress thing. I remember seeing a thing with, is it Jim or Joe Buscemi? Who's Buscemi? Steve Buscemi. And he was showing a couple of his early headshots, and he had the nice, friendly neighbor headshot, and then he had the dark, scary, almost psycho-looking headshot. And so he would try to figure out which one that would need it for the role. And it's funny because you look at it and you're like, yeah, it's the same guy, but frames just slightly different. Part of it was angle, lighting, how he was doing his hair, just the intensity in his look. So yeah, you can get multiple things for each client, but you just want to make sure that they can use it.
And it's not wrong. It's not bad to do that, because think about it, who you are for your wife is somebody who is totally different than who you are for your son, right? And same with me. I show up differently for each one of my children. I show up differently for you. I show up differently for each one of the team members, because that's who they need, kind of thing. And it's what your relationship is with.
Yeah,
so.
and also when they met you and everything.
Yeah.
I want to change.
My favorite part of photography in general.
What's your favorite part of photography, Debbie? What's the thing that really gets you going?
Business.
It's the business. It's the business of.
It's the business side. It's the possibilities. It's the. I actually get really excited when I talk numbers and strategies and procedures and not even the clicking of the camera stuff. That's the creative side, I think, but definitely I do get excited about the business stuff. So, yeah.
Well, you came into it out of a different way. I think how long were you doing photography before you got wrapped up in the business model that you use now?
Oh, that's a great question. I want to say 3 or 4 years I was a shoot and burn photographer, and then started working with Steve and literally just did a 180. I'm the kind of person, if you tell me to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm 6 foot from the line, because I don't want to do anything wrong that's not going to work. And so I follow directions very well. So when I was told, nope, you need to start charging, you need to do same day design consult, you need to do this, and I just started doing it. I didn't ask questions, I just did it. And I changed everything overnight. So I went from a $550 shoot and burn photographer to an average of $3,500, just like that. And then just kind of kept honing it and developing it over the years and growing the business, obviously, to the point now where we have a team and I'm not always the one holding the camera.
I think that a lot of photographers they kind of take some of that generic photography advice that's out there, which is start free, over deliver, take a lots and lots and lots of photos and get really good at your craft, learn the science, get the big lens, all that kind of stuff. And by the time they get good, they're so entrenched in their business mindset that they have a hard time adjusting to where they should be placing themselves.
I have a question.
Okay, ask the question.
What did you find it hard to switch from that previous model to the business model you have now when you did switch? Because I know you said you did it overnight, but like there's a lot of fear in that. I think a lot of people don't want to do that because it's very scary to be like, well, I'm not going to get booked. And you very might well not get booked for like a little bit longer until you start getting some momentum. Like, did you find yourself scared at all? Did it come naturally to you? You were just like, no, that's going to work. I'm going to do that.
I mean, I really trusted what I was being told because there was proof, like social proof and financial proof. Like I was able to actually see the numbers and I could see that it worked. But yeah, definitely a little bit of a fear in the sense that would my old clients stay with me? And the answer is no, they didn't all stay with me. I offered them gift certificates so that when they came back to shoot with me, they would have, however much off their shoot. But for the most part, I was fine with it because we were in Hawaii and it was transient. And so I was getting new clients who I hadn't shot with before, so they didn't know what I did beforehand. And then I honestly surrounded myself with people who did the same thing. So I just kind of kept blinders on because there's a million shoot and burn photographers and it's like everywhere, not just here, not just in Hawaii, everywhere. And especially right after Christmas when they get all their new cameras and they think they can go out and start a photography business and it's not all fun and games. It's not easy. It's really not easy. Like if I was to give one piece of advice to somebody who wanted to become a photographer, I'd say go to business school, get a business degree. Because if you can't make money, you don't have a photography business. You have a hobby and you can stay busy, but that doesn't mean you'll make money.
And I think photography and videography, coming from the video side of it myself, it has this romanticism that, it's like a camera. I have a good camera and I'm going to show up and I'm going to take pictures and people are going to love it and they're going to throw money at me. And we don't really consider any other professions that way. We're not looking at like people who build Japanese tuner cars and say,
very specific.
And it's like, like they did a really good job like putting a turbocharger on this Subaru, so somebody's going to throw a bunch of money. It's like nobody else. So it's only photography and videography that seem to have that. I'd say maybe the closest would be like if somebody's a musician, like if somebody's like they're good at guitar or they can sing or something, and there's this idea that there's just a lot of people out there with money who want that thing. And you're right, if you're not providing a business strategy to the why of why you take take pictures, you're just gonna fail. And that was what happened with me. It was like I believed that I could just work, like I could just put lots of energy. I could buy all the nice stuff, buy thousands of dollars worth of equipment, put my name out there to sort of hang the shingle, as they used to say, and people would just start throwing money at me and say, "Yeah, come do this thing," and it just was not the case. And even after 10 years, it's still not easy. I mean, you still get a lot of people who just, they either they don't know who you are, they don't know what you do, or they don't know how to value your service.
Mm-hmm. Well, and a lot of photographers think, $200 is a lot of money. I just got paid $200 to shoot a wedding, or I just got, $1,000 to shoot a wedding, and people just look at that big number. but they don't really break it down to look at the hours involved. It's $200 for our wedding, a 10-hour wedding. Okay, that's not just a 10-hour wedding. It's all the stuff beforehand. It's all the stuff afterwards. You're looking at 20 to 30 hours for a wedding. You may as well just pay them. Like, let me pay you to be your wedding photographer at that point. But I think a lot of photographers, especially like new starting out, they will just do I'll do 7 or 10 photos for $75 or whatever. They're not taking into account any business, anything, like the cost of doing business at all. And a lot of people think that like digitals are cheaper. Digital should be the most expensive thing on your menu, because without the digital, they can't do anything. But somehow we've mixed it up and people think the digitals are the cheapest. Well, what if we just get digitals? Yeah, that's fine. They're $400 a piece. Like, why? Because without it, you can't do anything.
Mm-hmm. If you have a digital, you can print it.
You can do anything. You can manipulate it. You can, do whatever you want. Print it as large as you want. So.
And so, as a photographer, if you're only delivering that one thing, it needs to be the most valuable thing that you're sending. Mm-hmm. Because if somebody was to say they wanted an 8x10, like I said, actors, they want 8x10s, right? They need those for their gigs. I could take your pictures and then print you off 20 or 30 8x10s. If I don't give you the digital, then
that's it. Once they're gone.
Yeah. Once they're gone, then they got to come back and buy those. But if they have the digital, they can either print them or go to a service. They could go to the drugstore and just get them printed over and over and over again. And so, how do you value that? How do you value if that photo is going to be printed 10 times only? That's all that's ever going to be seen. Then the value is in those prints. Right, yeah, limited edition. But if it's a digital, that digital has to be valued at all of its lifespan.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people don't take into consideration either like commercial use photos, like branding photos, or even an author headshot or something like that. It should be priced by where it's going to be seen, how many eyes are going to be on it, whether it's digital media, printed media, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, I've sold one digital for $15,000 before because of where it was going to be placed. Right. But people don't think about that. Like, you're just taking a quick shot. I just need one headshot. Shouldn't be too long. That's not what they're thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at printed magazines, your Vogue and GQ and all those types of things, those photos, those photographers who took those photos got paid a significant amount of money for those, because those magazines are going to be distributed around the world, and it could be a legacy magazine. It could be something that is looked at. You think about that National Geographic cover with the Afghan girl. It's like that will go down as one of the most iconic photos for hundreds of years. Did that photographer do that for $50? Yeah. And so, if you don't understand the value of the product that you're offering, it can be easy to just accept any kind of dollar amount. But on the flip side of that, everybody needs to make some money. Like, everybody needs to pay their bills and everything. And if you decide that you want to do photography or videography as your full-time gig, you're gonna have to hustle and struggle and do some jobs that maybe you think maybe you could charge more for or whatnot, but you just got to get that customer so that you can eat. So, which is kind of the reality of it sometimes. Mm. So.
But back to your original question, it wasn't hard. It was just scary, like you said. It wasn't hard to change. It was just that mindset of no one's going to want to hire me, and you've just got to trust the process, like everything else. But But if I've worked with multiple photographers over the years, and if I can get them when they're just starting out before they have bad habits, so much easier to work with, as opposed to somebody who's been doing shoot and burn for 10, 15 years, and that's all they know, and that it would scare the crap out of them to change at that point. But
what's a funny story that I was gonna say horror story, but I don't think
I have a funny story.
Would be better. What's like a funny
I have a
story
funny
would be-
story. So when we lived in Hawaii, I had a physical trainer.
A personal trainer?
Personal trainer. And I actually exchanged, this was back before I did all my, this was back. Okay, I got a funny story. You want to hear a funny story?
I want to hear a funny
Okay.
story, Debbie.
So I think you'll appreciate this. And if you've heard it, just pretend you haven't.
Okay.
And then, So when we were in Hawaii, I had a personal trainer, and he came up to me one day and he's like, "Hey, I've got these friends, and they would love family photos." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, no worries." He said, "The only thing is you can't ask any questions, and it's a cash only." And I was like,
Mafia?
okay. He's like, "So you're going to drive up to the North Shore. Here's the address. You're going to go in. You're going to take the photos. They're going to pay you, and you're going to leave." And I was like, okay, not a problem. A little bit dodgy, but I trusted him. And he'd been working with this family for several months now, so he knew them. So anyway, I go up, I do the shoot. Really, really good looking husband, beautiful wife, little 3-year-old. We did a couple of different locations. They did out in the water. Like we spent a whole afternoon. It was great. He gave me cash in hand. And as I'm leaving, like all these guys started coming in because they were moving, and their friends were helping them pack up and everything. And they're like, "Oh, those photos look great. You know, my girlfriend's pregnant. Do you think we could do?" And I was like, "Yeah, no problem. Here's my business card and everything." Anyway, so I go back and tell the personal trainer that, "Hey, yeah, everything went well." But it was kind of weird, the kind of people that were showing up. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, he's the head of the Hells Angels, and he's actually flying back to California to turn himself in because he's about to go to prison for the rest of his life." And so it's like, okay, so I'm not ever allowed to show those photos. They're still on an external. Beautiful photos, and I couldn't even share them. So, that was something definitely interesting that I wasn't anticipating. But also, it was just interesting.
Would you have shot them differently if you knew he was about to go to prison for the rest of his life?
That's a really good question. I don't think so. I didn't get to do all the things that I normally do with a client, like find out what's important to them and have the conversations and what's your relationship, tell me a little bit about your wife or your son. I didn't get to do all of that stuff, but just in the couple of hours that I was there with them, I was really able to capture them as a family unit, and then him, with his wife by themselves and him with his son by themselves. And I was able to do all of the different combinations and really capture what they wanted. But I wasn't privy to any of I didn't know they were about to get on a plane. And
but it was a few years back, I was photographing as I guess you would call it staff photographer for magazine. And there was a pretty well-known real estate agent who was hosting some friends on a yacht. And so the yacht was out in the middle of Chesapeake Bay. We live right next to the Chesapeake Bay. And I was supposed to get on the boat with him and his friends and photograph them having a good time, his friends there, socializing and everything like that. But the logistics were that I was going to have to go to the boat as it was out on the Chesapeake Bay and get on the boat, take the pictures, and then get back off of the boat and then go back.
So you weren't welcome to spend the whole day with
I
them.
couldn't get on the boat when they left and spend the whole day. I wasn't that good of a friend, apparently. And so the publisher of the magazine rented a fishing boat, one of those little small, fishing things. You go out there, you see them bouncing along. And so I met her at the marina. We got on a fishing boat and we went out into the Chesapeake Bay and spent about an hour looking for the yacht first. Because you'd see something, you're like, is that them? So we went sailing and, going in that direction. No, it's not them. And then we turned and they were on the phone and they're like, what is it, So we finally figure out which yacht it was. And it was a catamaran type of sailboat yacht. So a little bit wider, a little bit more stable. But still, I'm on a little fishing boat, and this is a much bigger boat, and we're out in the middle of very choppy Chesapeake Bay. And I got a couple $1,000s worth of camera gear in a bag. And so I basically have to jump off of the fishing boat, catch one of the outriggers on the sailboat, on the catamaran, and basically climb up the side of this thing like a frickin' pirate. And then they hand me my camera bag. It was kind of a whole nother evolution. And so then I spent about an hour and a half, 2 hours on the catamaran, just taking pictures, walking around and everything. What was really kind of funny is there was a small group of friends, and they were kind of in one part of the boat, and they're having a conversation. And I'm just sitting, I just kind of sat down a little ways away from them, and I'm just taking pictures. And one of the women looks over and goes, "There's a guy there." And they all turn and look at me, and they're like, "Where the hell did he come from?" And I was like, "Oh, I just got on the boat a few minutes ago." And they're like, and they're all just looking around like, what the hell is going on? Because I obviously wasn't on the boat when we went out, or when they went out. So I took the pictures of everybody, and then as it was getting close to sundown, we wanted to make sure we had, number one, we wanted a drone shot of it at sundown, but then also some nice sundown pictures of the whole boat. And so the fishing boat came back out, and I jumped off of the catamaran onto the fishing boat, landed like Spider-Man. I was pretty proud of myself. They chucked the camera bag down to me, and then we went out, and we basically had to go chase the catamaran back again as it was catching the wind, because we wanted full sails. And I'm hanging off the side of the fishing boat, like with my camera, bouncing along, trying to get this nice stable shot. And so we got these beautiful shots of the sailboat in the sunset. I even got a shot where the mast is there and the sun is sitting right at the top of the mast. It's kind of glowing. The whole thing is all orange and beautiful. I did try to fly the drone. And apparently your drone is not allowed to fly anywhere near a Coast Guard base. Mm-hmm. And so I got the drone up into the air from the fishing boat. It went about 20 feet and just stopped dead. And our fishing boat just kept going. We're like, the drone's, and I'm like just full throttle in it, and it's not going anywhere. And I look down, there's a little thing said geofence. So then we had to turn the fishing boat back and go back and get underneath the drone so I could land it.
It's like a frustrating day.
So it was an adventurous day because, I'm in my 50s doing this. I'm not like a kid. But yeah, I got some beautiful photos out of it. And then they never published the pictures.
What?
Nope, they never did anything with the pictures.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's sad.
I got the pictures. I put them on my Instagram.
Okay.
Okay. Natural light or studio lighting?
Oh, I started natural light, and I used to think that's the only thing I could do. And now I can't even imagine just being natural light. I love all the things that I could do in the studio. There are some things that lend itself to natural light. Like I love a good senior shoot, outside. I feel like there's something, I don't know, there's just something.
So there's some
about
bridal
it.
stuff
Yeah.
as well. Like you get a
Some
bride.
Nice yeah. But for the most part, I would always choose studio. It's 100 degrees in the summer in Virginia. And it's raining in Virginia. So studio is amazing. We can shoot 365 if we want to. Yeah, I would probably 30-70 natural light studio. But it used to be 100% all natural light. So.
I like to just play. I like to play with lights. I like to see something, whether it's Instagram or Pinterest or wherever it is, and if it's a new type of lighting thing, like we have the shower thing, or we have the smoke, or we have like the draping the fabric off a light, and then somebody get wrapped up in the fabric, and I just love like dissecting what I'm seeing in these images and making it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've sent him multiple photos over the years where I'm like, I want to take this photo. How do we make it happen? And by the time I get back into the studio, he's got it all figured out.
there's been a few times where we've struggled to get exactly the thing, but then we usually find something else.
Mm-hmm. We always try something different with every client, though, just so that they've got something that's a little unique just for them.
Yep. It's, and then we also have our models, which are the people who work in the studio with us. My son, who for the past, pretty much his whole life has been a model for me. He used to have his own YouTube channel at one point. Which is good, because if you have some kind of idea, you can bring somebody in, whether it's one of the staff or your kid or whoever, and you can just work with them. On a day off, you just sit there and work it. And then once you figure it out, then you can bring your clients in, and that way you can still play new things, but it's usually an adaptation of something that you've already done, that you've already maybe not perfected, but you've already tried it.
So I started, I took photos back in high school, for the yearbook, all of that kind of stuff. So I've been shooting long before digital was a thing, back where you had 24 clicks on the camera and you had to make every one of them count. If I was lucky, I had 48. But we also worked, at the school, I developed my own film and I did all of that fun stuff. Then, got married, had kids, and I just took photos of my own kids, and I have a bachelor's in education, and so I was a teacher. And I was teaching at a private school in Hawaii, and we had room parents, I in particular had a room mom, and she was lovely, loved her. She loved me, which worked out really nicely. But I had old photos of my kids up around my desk area, and I don't know, October, November, one year she asked me if I could take photos of her family, and I was like, oh, I don't do that. I just do my own kids. I didn't even do friends or, whatever. I just did my kids. And she's like, oh, please do it. And she begged and she begged, and she kept asking and asking and asking. And a couple of weeks later, she's like, I will give you a gift certificate to Roy's if you do this for me. I just really want you to do our family photos, and I really like Roy's. So I said, sure. And went off and did them, and she came back for 5 years in a row. I did their family photos every year until I moved off island. Until they moved off island. But they, so after we did the shoot, she told her friends, and then they came and asked me, and then they told their friends, and it just kind of snowballed that way. And then about 18 months later, it was spring break, and I made more money in 2 shoots on a spring break than I did in a whole month of teaching, which is very, very sad. And I went back and I put in my notice that at the end of the school year, I would not be coming back and I was going to go full-time for my photography.
But hold on. That's a big jump, though. A lot of photographers, they'll just keep their job. What made you think that this is it? why not do both?
Well, by that time, I was already doing like my larger sales, and I didn't need the teaching. I didn't, it kind of got to the point where it was interfering with with my shoots, because I could only shoot in the evening or, afternoon, evening, and then edit all night long. And then I'd be up, I'd still have to do lesson plans, and I'd still have to, be awake enough to teach school the next day. It just didn't.
So
work for me.
you were teaching, you started doing photography on the side, but you said earlier that it was about a 3-year shoot and burn time. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing because you mentioned meeting Steve, but you met him at a conference. Mm-hmm. So you were investing in your own self as a photographer by going to conferences or whatnot.
And then I worked with him one-on-one as a private coach for many years, even after. Like, I think it was probably about a year before I finally quit teaching. But yeah, I worked with him for years and years. I traveled all around the world with him, teaching other photographers how to have a successful studio or a profitable studio, and built lots of different studios. And
well, how long into your own journey before you actually got your first studio?
I shared a studio in Hawaii with some friends. We all got trained by Steve, so we all had the same prices. It wasn't a competitive thing. There was 3 of us, and we all had a completely different client base, to the point that if somebody came to me looking for something that I didn't do, I would refer them to one of the other girls, and vice versa. So we shared a studio over in Hawaii, and then when I first got here to Virginia 7 years ago, I found a studio space in an office building area. It was like 600 square feet or something, and I stayed there for 3 years, and everybody told me, don't move out, don't get more expensive space, and you'll never be able to afford it. Not my regular people, like other local.
The naysayers.
Yeah, the naysayers. And I moved in here. I moved into this particular studio here at the end of 21, beginning of 22. So we've been here for almost 4 years.
So I was in the Navy a long time ago, and I was not somebody who partied. I didn't go out drinking and whatnot. So when I was on Liberty, I would go on tours. I would go to castles and to monuments and all these things. So I went to a bunch of different countries while I was in the Navy. And early on, I said, I want to take pictures of this. I had been an art guy in high school, and I should have been an artist, but stuff happened. And so I got a camera. It was a film camera. I can't even remember what it was. I want to say it was a Yanika or Pentax or something like that. And the difficulty I had was I didn't develop my own film. I would take pictures and then hold the film until I got back to port and then go get them developed. And so there could be months between me taking the photos and seeing the photos. And so I would have no idea what my mistakes were. Because if you take a photo and then a day or so later you see the photo, you're like, oh, I know what I did wrong. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't have that. And so when I had to learn my lessons, I had to learn them I had to sit there and go, okay, I'm pretty certain of what I did here. Try not to do that, or try to do that again. And then for a few years in the late 90s or whatnot, I had a nicer film camera, and I did a few weddings and some birthday parties, and then that kind of died off when the digital hit, because digital was just so expensive. And so I just kind of backed out of it, and I just moved on with life and just worked and everything. But then when my son was, when my wife and I were getting ready to have our son, I went and got a really nice digital camera. I went to Best Buy and dropped like $3,000 on a kit. And it was, the only intention was to document our son being born and to get those early pictures. And yeah, so I spent the next couple of years just taking pictures of my son and the family. I got to do a few parties or whatnot, but nobody was hiring me to do weddings at that point. And then I was in college working on my master's. I was working on an MBA. And I just remember sitting there one day going that the MBA was not going to benefit me. I was like, this degree won't do anything for me. What I was doing, I had already kind of hit my pinnacle in my job, and it was like, the MBA is not going to do anything. I would actually have to almost start over in, like a Fortune 500 company to get anywhere with that degree. And I said, well, I'll just start my own business. And so I sat there for a little while. This was 2014. And I said, well, either I can be a spray foam insulator or I can buy a drone. And so those are my two business models. And one was a franchise. I could have bought a franchise for about $75,000, and I would have been like the region's spray foam insulator for that company. Or I could buy a drone and then sell real estate photos and, work for the news channel and stuff like that. And it turned out that buying a drone was cheaper than buying a spray foam insulator truck. And so that's what I did. I spent a lot of money on some drones and some cameras to go with the drones. And then like 2 months after I had started the business and had invested all this money in, the FAA decided to make it so that you needed a commercial pilot's license to fly a drone. And they basically sent letters to all the real estate agents and all the brokerages and said, if you hire a drone pilot that does not have a commercial pilot's license, you will be fined $1 million. And so my business did not go anywhere. And so I just adapted. I was still working. I still had a job. I was a project manager. And so I was just doing drone stuff and video stuff on the side, and started picking up weddings. And I shot a lot of weddings in the first few years, doing a lot of video, and made some films. So I did some short films and then made a feature film. And but what was happening is I was spending a lot of time working, like really hustling, but I had no business acumen for running it. Even though I had a business degree, the stuff that I had learned didn't really apply to just starting your own business. It was kind of, I could run things, I could do spreadsheets and manage people and stuff, but I didn't know those practical small business things. And then I had spent so much time and money and effort, and I just wasn't getting anywhere. And so in 2021, I ended up shutting down my business, and I kept myself on the books as a freelancer. So basically, people who I had made contact with through my business or through friendships or whatnot, I just said, yeah, I'm a freelancer. If you need something, I'll just work for you as a freelance person. And I met a gentleman by the name of Mason Morawski, and he was one of the few people who consistently brought me work, primarily wedding work, and he introduced me to Debbie. And so then 2023, in 2023, I got laid off from my contracting job, and I decided that I was going to just lean in and just work as a photographer, videographer. And I talked to Debbie and I said, can I just come work for you? And so she said, yep, and here I am. Okay.
Charles just kind of wore me down is not the right thing to say. He just kept showing up. Yeah. Just kept showing up. He's nothing if not loyal. And and if he says he'll do something, he does something. And so he just kept showing up.
Mm-hmm. I might not do it right the first time, though.
especially if it's floors.
I will give it the old college try, blue collar effort, whatever you want to call it. But I was telling my son one time, because I had come home recently and I had messed up the floors. I had fucked up the floors, and I've spent some serious hours, and there's still some serious hours to go working on them. And so I went home and I was telling my son, I was like, I'm sorry I haven't been around the last few days or last few evenings because I had to work late. I said, sometimes you try to do something and you might have all the good intentions, you might have the good directions, you might have all the right supplies, all the right equipment or whatnot, and it goes perfect. And you're like, yay, I did a good job. Sometimes you do everything that you think you're supposed to do and you don't know if it's good or bad. Sometimes it turns out well, sometimes it turns out whatever, but it's sort of neutral. Like you didn't fuck anything up, but you didn't like really impress anybody either. And so, and then sometimes you fuck up. Like you do everything that you think you're supposed to do. You got all the right tools, the equipment, the motivation, and it just does not work. And then when that happens, the only thing that you can do is just try to clean up your mess and start over. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to start over. So on the floors that I fucked up.
I started photographing boudoir back in Hawaii. I actually went to WPPI and I took a class with Jen Rosenbaum. Did not think I would enjoy it at all because there were two presenters, Trevor Daly and Jen Rosenbaum, and I was like all there for Trevor's stuff. Well, Trevor ended up being he was a phenomenal photographer, but he had ADHD or something. He was like all over the place, and I'm like, I cannot focus on this. And Jen was shooting boudoir we were in the Cosmopolitan. We had a beautiful suite. She was in the other room, and I was like, I can't follow. I just cannot follow Trevor. It was exhausting me, and so I went in and started shooting boudoir with Jen, and I was like, oh, this is actually a lot of fun, and I think I could really enjoy this. And so I went back to Hawaii and I was like telling all my friends and I'm asking them, can you, let me practice on you? And I had a phenomenal next door neighbor who is just stunning and not shy at all. And she's from Germany, so she had no problem being naked. But I practiced with a lot of my friends basically at the start, and then had clients who would hire me. I photographed a lot of women because at that time I didn't have a studio, so I would photograph them in their home because I wanted them to feel beautiful in their home, in the place where they would normally be, cleaning or wearing pajamas or sweatpants or running after kids or whatever. So I had a hair and makeup artist who we would bring in, and we would pamper them in their home while their kids were at school or the husband would take them off. And so I did that for a couple of years over there. And then when I moved here, focused on primarily pets and dogs when we first got here. And then I would say probably about, I'm trying to remember if it was last year or the year before.
I think it was 2024, early 2024.
Early 2024, one of my friends came to visit and I was like, I really want to start doing boudoir again. She's like, well, photograph me. And so we came in here one night and I was like, oh, this is what I was like. This, it just kind of rekindled that flame that I enjoyed, but it'd just been so long since I'd done it. And so then I started, asking other people to come on in, and it's kind of gone from there. So probably about 18 months, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, we've had a lot of women through the studio since then.
What do you enjoy seeing the most during a boudoir shoot?
What do I enjoy seeing the most during a boudoir shoot? I think I love it when a woman finally sees how beautiful she is, if that makes sense. Like, we have them, I mean, in really awkward positions, and they have to trust us that it's going to look good. I love when they might be a little shy or a little hesitant at the first, and then you show them the back of the camera and it's like, it's me. And then they just kind of loosen up. It's almost like you can't physically hear or see the yes, but that's exactly what happens. They just kind of relax, and then they let you do whatever, kind of thing. We always shoot, obviously, at their comfort level, but once they kind of see the back of the camera and they can see that, they do know what they're talking about, then they tend to relax. And I love seeing that. The quiet types, because we have all kinds who come in. We have some very loud, they let you know exactly, and they're not shy and they do all the things. But the quiet types, the quiet ones who you're like, I don't know, is she having a good time? And then you see that kind of physical relaxation. And then, that I enjoy seeing that. I enjoy watching almost like the progression of the caterpillar to the butterfly kind of, you see that in an entire shoot. So that's a lot of fun to watch.
I know that this is something that we're trying to work on, the authenticity, where people come in, and not just for boudoir, but everything else, and it's like, I wasn't expecting for it to be so fun.
Yeah, she even said it today. I wasn't expecting this to be so much fun, and I was like, why? People think it's going to be so much fun. What are we not telling people, or what are we not showing people? We have a lot of fun. We're a lot of fun. We really are. For a boudoir shoot, typically we're going to have 90% of the clients come in, and they have, honestly, probably more. 99% of our clients come in and have professional hair and makeup done. So we have a professional hair and makeup artist here. We're going to go through the clothes that you bought or the accessories that you bought and kind of sort them out and put them in the order that we're going to photograph you in. We usually like to start with the most clothes and work our way down as the confidence grows. And then you're typically going to be in hair and makeup for about an hour, because the girls do a phenomenal job and you're going to be pampered. We're just going to we're going to be here, but for the most part, we're just going to be working and doing, getting ready and everything. But Lisa or Sarah or one of the girls is going to take care of you. And then we come in to the shoot space, and we usually always start with our magazine look, which is something that whether you're wearing lingerie or if you're in jeans and a tank top, looks great. It's a little bit more casual. There's a little bit of drama lighting, but for the most part, it's just a casual kind of setup. And that way kind of gets you, we're going to share the, some tips and tricks and poses and show you how to pose, essentially. And then just kind of show you a couple of behind the scenes just so that you can see, look, we really do know what we're talking about. I promise you look amazing. Depending on who's here, there's usually at least 2 people who are going to photograph you, maybe more, just depending on the day. We have an assistant, Matt. She's our client advocate. She's going to take care of you in the sense of she's probably the one who really, she doesn't dictate the shoot or run the shoot, but she does in a sense, because she knows what outfits are coming. And she's been here for long enough that she knows what would look good in each of the different lighting situations that we have. But she's also the one who's going to be like, she needs a drink. she needs a break. Let her just sit and get something to eat. Because we just get in the technical mode. We just kind of keep going, and we get really excited because we're, seeing something beautiful, and the client's having so much fun that Matt's the one who's kind of, all right, y'all need to let's take a break. So we work our way through all your outfits, or the different sets and everything, and then immediately afterwards, we're going to go through the photos. We're going to cull them down so that you can see them same day, so that you don't have to come back and do that. And then you'll get to choose the photos that you love straight away, because you'll be able to see them. We'll do you're going to see them straight out of the camera. We're not editing anything. We only edit the photos that are purchased. So whether that's 2 or 3 photos, or whether that's 50 or 60 photos, then we send those off to our retouchers. And then if there's anything that you want to purchase, we send them off to the lab and all of that kind of stuff. So that's essentially how the day runs. It could be, I would say probably a 3-4 hour process. We always tell our clients, make sure you have somewhere to go afterwards, because you're going to feel amazing and you don't want to waste a good pair of lashes. So no going home and cooking dinner or cleaning. Have your significant other or a best friend or someone take you out, because you're going to feel good.
Look like.
Well, I'm going to slap them across the face a few times, get her nice and red, mess up their hair, take a shot, kick them out. Some boiled cat look, you know what I mean? No.
Right on their bank profile.
No, one of the things that happens a lot with headshots, I think headshots more than some others, with the exception of maybe family portraits, people can be a little nervous because they're not really certain, like, all the steps are going to be. Like, they know that they're trying to get good photos. For family shoots, there's this motivation to get, like, this one specific photo or a group of photos. Like, I want to have the whole family and I want them all smiling and all looking good. But with headshots, I think what happens is they can be conflated with school pictures sometimes, where it's like, oh, I'm going to sit a certain way and they're going to take one picture and then they're going to send me on my way. And one of the first things is we want to make sure that when people walk in, we're greeting them professionally, and that we are showing them the studio. We typically have all the lights set up already so they can see exactly what it's going to look like. For most headshots, we use constant lighting, so you, like, as soon as you get behind the lights, you know exactly what it's going to look like. It's not strobes, and you're not sitting in the dark waiting for somebody to click a picture. We also, like I said, we spend a little bit of time finding out who you are, what you're doing the photos for, where you plan on using them, if you're going to use them for social media, if you're going to use them for LinkedIn, for business cards, billboards, whatever it may be. And then we walk through kind of like, there's these standard poses that we use for headshots that give the best results for most people. Of course, some people, they might be a little bit more unique, and we might have to adjust our lights or some of our posing for them. And then we will take a series of photos in several different orientations, finding somebody's good side or the side that they're more comfortable with. We get them laughing, we get them smiling, and then we sometimes change outfits, we sometimes change lighting, maybe a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more colorful. And then as soon as we're done, we're taking them right into the consult room, and we're showing them their pictures, and they get to pick them right there. So a headshot session can be as short as 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long period of time. And a client can come in, they can have a good time, get some really high quality photos, pick the ones that they want, and then be back out the door. It doesn't have to be an all day thing. It doesn't have to be something where they gotta, they have to feel like, they gotta take off of work or something like that. They can just come in on their lunch break, or, leave early or go in late, which way we want to do it. But we try to make it as fun and as pain-free as possible.
I mean, it's all the different lighting styles, because we use a lot of shadow to bring in drama. and it's going to depend on the kind of person too, because like older women specifically, more with more mature skin, you're not going to want to use the more dramatic lighting on them, because then it's going to pick up literally every crease and every wrinkle. And women typically don't like to see that on themselves. So we're going to use a lot more flat lighting and like straight on direct lighting, so that it just kind of washes all of that, washes over them, so to speak. But we have lots of different kinds of lighting styles. But I mean, Charles can talk more of that just because he's our lighting guy.
So you have 1,400 square feet of studio space, and we can use most of it for a photo shoot. One room is set up as a natural light space, meaning that we have diffused film over very large window panes. These are commercial window panes that you see in a lot of businesses. We have them filmed over so that the light that's coming in is, number one, private, but also very soft and diffused, and it works great for branding, it works great for the boudoir, and makes people's skin and eyes look great. It's not so great for drama. We want to come into the studio for that. We have multiple strobes that we use in the studio, and a strobe is basically a more powerful flash, meaning that they can flash very fast, very powerful, many times without issues, whereas a flash can sometimes run out of power. The modifiers, we have soft boxes, we have umbrellas, we have beauty dishes, we have reflectors, and then we also have continuous lighting that we use for a lot of things. And we use projectors and snoots. Projectors are great if we want to cast some kind of pattern on the wall or make a spotlight. We use spotlight a lot. We use that for really fun shoots. We can make a backstage look where we make it look like somebody's on a stage. We throw some smoke and some spotlights. And then, of course, we have color gels that we can throw on the lights to kind of just do all kinds of different things. And then we also have different backgrounds that we can use. We have paper. Primarily, we use the red a lot. But we also have black and foam board, and the white cyclochromic wall in our white space is good for getting that infinity white. And then we have a mugshot board, so if anybody wants to have fun and talk about what crimes they've committed lately, they can get a mugshot.
Do it scared. Do it anyway. There's no right time. Now is the right time to do it. There's never going to be a right time if you could just keep waiting. I would say, I don't know, like try us. You know what I'm saying? Like what am I trying to say? What's the word? Like test us. Like come in and try not to have a good time. Like I promise you.
Prove us wrong.
Prove us wrong. Yeah, you're gonna have a phenomenal time. I don't think we've had anybody leave that didn't like feel like they were our best friends by the end of the shoot, and they just had such a phenomenal experience. So I would say just do it.
Have you
do it scared.
Have you ever done it, Debbie?
Do it scared.
Have you ever done it, Debbie?
That's what my advice is. I love it. There's a lot of phenomenal photographers out there, and there's a lot of people who can, take your family photos. I mean, you can technically nowadays just put up a phone and use your iPhone. What you get when you hire our studio is a team with decades of experience between us, multiple decades. We have, like, from the discovery consultant all the way to the sales, we have somebody who is going to hold your hand, walk you through the process. We have
Well, I think one of the things that you run into is having an established system.
we have an established system.
Meaning that it's not just ad hoc, where can we meet? Can we meet at a park? Can we meet at a beach? Where do yeah, and people have places that they really love.
Which and I'm fine to do them at a location. Like we did the multi-generational shoot this past weekend on their property because that was what was important to them. Right. I'm more than happy to do things like, go to people's homes and
yeah,
do
but
that
you didn't.
for a
But you also
space.
didn't go by yourself.
No. I
And
didn't go
so
by
we went there together, and we worked as a team. We had multiple cameras, multiple lights. There was communication for 2 weeks in advance, communication on the day. So they had an understanding of what you were going to do when you got there. And then when we got there, we were able to adapt to what the conditions were. And not only were we able to provide the thing that they thought that they wanted, but you and I were able to talk through the location. You found another really unique location that we were able to do some isolated photos.
They didn't even think about.
Right, they didn't think about it. It was a small little, almost like a ruin of an old house that had been there, generations ago, but it still had these beautiful bricks and everything. We set up in there, and we took all kinds of amazing photos there. And not that any other photographer wouldn't do those things, but as somebody who has operated kind of as a freelance, you just show up and shoot, it can be a little hectic to just walk in cold someplace all by yourself, wrangle 10, 15, 30 people sometimes, and make it amazing for everybody. And then one of the comments that we got was, I think there was the gentleman whose birthday it was. He goes, "You're not as pushy as the other photographers are." And that's if you're comfortable in what you're doing, if you're professional and you know your deal, your processes and your systems, yeah, it shouldn't be chaotic.
And the truth of the matter is, these aren't our photos. These are your photos or their photos, and so we're just there to take their photos. So they don't have to be an award-winning photo. They just need to be the family and what represents that family best, right? And I think, like with this particular family, or with any family, but with this particular family, we're not above doing the work either. We will move the furniture. We will hold the little old lady's hands to get them to where they need to go. We will chase the kids. We will
make all kinds of noises.
Make all kinds of noises. Like, we will do all the things. It's just, yeah. It's not about like us being rock stars. It's about us providing them with a service that they need.
Yeah, a lot of people, they don't. Some photographers, they consider themselves to be artists or auteurs, and it's they can be upset when somebody doesn't love the photo they love. But for us, it's not that. It's like we're showing up. Like if the client says, we had a family in here and they were very formal, they were very upright and proper, and you have to gauge that really quickly. Because if your thing is, okay, we're all going to hold hands and run through the sand or something like that, and this is not that family, like, you're going to fight them the whole time for the whole shoot. The one that was very upright, I found out who they were, and I said, okay, we're going to be very formal with this. I'm not going to make some of the silly jokes and stuff. I'm not going to tell all my dad jokes or fart noises. I'm going to keep it here. And you ask the questions, and that's the other thing, is being confident and comfortable asking people the questions that are going to elicit the right kind of responses and photos. Because sometimes photographers are it's like, where do you want to go? Okay, click, 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 and it's like, good job, everybody, and then they leave. But sometimes you need to like dig in and find out why do they want that photo, whose relationship is what.
Yeah, like this particular family, it was a stepmom. So if we didn't know that it was a stepmom, we could have tried to take, photos of her, like the whole family unit, which we did the whole family unit. But they weren't she wasn't the boy's mom. Right. And so you've got to know the different dynamics in the families. You've got to be able to know who is who and, all the different elements that come with that. But I think just the biggest difference is that we're not just a one-man show. We are a team. We are professional. We have systems in place. From the time that you put in a lead form to the time that you pick up your artwork, you are going to be touched so many times by a member of our team appropriately.
Professionally.
Professionally.
You'd be professionally touched, Debbie.
Professionally touched. Whether it's by Christy when she first calls to find out, to the photography, to the delivery of the artwork, like you're gonna be like handheld through the whole process, as opposed to not knowing what's coming next.
Yeah, you show up at the beach and hope that somebody shows up with a camera.
Yeah. Or waiting 6 to 8 weeks or 3 to 4 months for photos.
Yep. And that's also another thing, and this is, I think, a pitfall for a lot of new photographers especially, is they can sometimes not understand everything that goes into providing a top tier service. It's not just about having a nice new camera and a nice lens, and knowing that nice be a place at the beach or the field when the sun is just right. It's about the business itself. It's about having the license and the insurance and all those things that make you a stable business, a professional business. But then it's also about editing and delivering and following up with the client later on and making sure that they've felt taken care of, that it wasn't like, they just like, I got some photos. Because that's another thing that we hear sometimes is people will say, the last photo shoot, I don't even know what happened to those photos. They're somewhere, I don't know. Or there was somebody that we were talking to recently who the only thing that they got was a printed album, and then that got lost in their luggage on a flight. And so now somebody has their photo album and they'll never see it again because there was no real logistics, there was no professionalism behind the photo shoot. So those photos are just gone now. And so the only thing they can do is actually hire us to take new photos of them.
If you don't purchase something on your day, we delete everything.
Okay,
so that is your only
we burn
time.
The memory card and everything. We're like, fuck that guy.
Well, girl.
Fuck that person.
So we have a lot of clients who think they're going to come back one day and buy, like they'll get a couple of photos on the day. They think they're going to come back. They never really do. When they come back though, is when something has happened, somebody's passed away, or the dog has passed on, or something like that, and they realize, there was some other photos that we didn't get, and we just happen to keep all of our photos forever. Yeah. It's really important to us that we keep them on file, because you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, we have clients who come back and they'll want to purchase photos after the fact, but most of the time they just buy.
I mean, our job is not to be a repository of all the photos we've ever taken. A client should understand and respect that, like if you do come back 2 or 3 years later, they might not be there.
I mean, technology is technology.
It is, yeah. Well,
because we're not using floppy disks anymore, right?
Nope. We've had hard drives fail, memory cards corrupt, and you never know. Or I actually used to host wedding videos on a service that just one day shut down. They sent an email saying, we're no longer supporting the service, and shut it down. And this is how I had delivered wedding videos for like 2 years. And so they're all gone. And it's like, if I don't have that video somewhere else, that video would no longer exist. And that was pretty scary, because luckily I had saved, at least the copies of the finished videos. But yeah, we shouldn't be the repository of all the photos we've taken, but as a courtesy, we do keep photos for a while. We keep videos for a while.
Well, we tell clients we will keep them for 12 months and then we archive them. So if they do come back, there's usually an archival fee for us to go and find the files and all of that, because we are paying for the services to keep them. But the truth of the matter is, we would, I think I'd rather have the client come back and be pleasantly surprised that we still have them, as opposed to expecting. Yeah, because that to me is an above and beyond kind of thing. So we tell clients that we keep them for a year. The truth is, we keep them. We've got them backed up and backed up and backed up. But
so talk about, you mentioned somebody's passed away, a dog or family member or whatnot. What is something that you always tell people to do?
Print the photos. Print your photos.
Print your photos, but what else? Like, who do you tell people to bring in for photos?
Oh, bring me your parents. Bring me your grandparents. People will bring me their dogs before they bring me their grandparents. And guess who's not going to be here? Grandparents. Although, honestly, like, we had one of my husband's cousins' part just didn't wake up one day at 42. Like, there's no guarantee. But yeah, bring me your grandparents. Just be in the photos. Just get the photos done.
Yeah, and if you're the person who is always the one taking the photos,
be in the photos.
everybody talks about it. There was some line in one movie, I think it was Deep Impact or something like that, and the actress was kind of lamenting about how there was no photos of her mother, and it was like how her mother was so distant and all this kind of stuff. And the father was like, well, you see all of these beautiful photos, your mother took those. But on the flip side of it, they didn't have a lot of photos of the mother. So it's like, if you're the one who's always taking the pictures, get in front of the camera.
Well, and the truth of the matter is, a lot of mums will be like, I need to lose weight, I'm too big, I don't want the kids to remember me this way. And the truth of the matter is, the kids don't see what you see. All the kids see is that their mum is with them in a photo. They don't care. They love you unconditionally. They don't care how big or how small or, whatever you are. That's a you problem.
It is.
But to love your kids enough to be in a photo, because you're never going to look the same like next year that you do now. You're never going to look the same, in 5 years' time. Today is the only day that you're going to look like this. Mm-hmm. You can't ever go back and get them.
We live in a time when we're fighting social media for how everybody looks and everything. And if you wait until you fit the mold,
or it'll be something different by then.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Or your kids will be
they'll be
left
gone.
home. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you only get 18 years with them, which sounds like a lot when you're in the midst of it, but it's really not.
Yeah, they'll be off at college when you finally drop that 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Because you weren't eating all the ding-dongs and ho-hos that were in the house because you had kids.
Or like being the vacuum to clean up after the kids are done with their plates.
Or because, you were cooking for all of those people. But, then it's... They're off living their lives and stuff, which is what you want to do. You want to raise your kids to go off, but yeah. So if you have, people will bring in their puppies, they'll bring in their babies, they'll bring in their little toddlers, they'll bring in their pregnant bellies, but they won't bring in those people who have the least amount of time left. They won't bring in the
tweens. Yeah. The tweens, because they're in between, like they're literally in between. They're gawky, they're awkward, they're whatever, but they'll never be that again. They don't bring in the elderly, and we love just listening to their stories.
Yeah. They can be grumpy as fuck.
Oh, absolutely. They can be cantankerous, but they're a lot of fun, and we get to kind of have fun with them. Or like they're old dogs. Mm-hmm. Like, don't wait. I mean, we will absolutely take a photo. We've taken multiple photos of dogs literally half an hour before they've been put to sleep, right? But when you get a diagnosis, bring them in. Don't wait until they can't, they're literally on their last, because you don't want to remember them like that. It's kind of like on the deathbed kind of thing.
Yeah. And I mean, and you see this, this is kind of the unfortunate thing, like when you see people who have cancer or, these other things, is like your body gets ravaged, and you want to, if things are stable, like get some photos done.
Mm-hmm. They don't have to be perfect. My uncle flew me back to Australia to do photos of my aunt with all of their kids and my cousins, and they, to this day, I'm trying to think how long ago that was. 10 years ago she passed away. It's been that long already. Still their most valuable, because they can't ever go back and get those photos. But they did them when she got diagnosed. And I gave them, the prints, I gave them, the digitals. And then 2 years later, he came to visit me and he saw some of my printed canvas work. And he's like, I want these. And he's like, and you charge me like you would charge a client, because that's how valuable they are to me. And I had them shipped to Australia, and now they've got them as a print, they've got them as a digital, and now they have them as a piece of canvas. But again, they can't go back and get those photos.
Well, now let's talk a little bit about that, because there is, you mentioned the value, right? And you talked about it a little bit earlier. Photography at your level is not cheap.
It's an investment. It's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your family. It's something that some people have to save up for. It's some people like will come in and they will always love more than they thought they were going to, whether it's with pets, with children, or with especially boudoir. The amount of times that we hear clients say, I wasn't expecting to love this many. All I can say to them is, duh, we're really good at our job. Like, we know what we can do. I will jokingly say to a client, clear your credit card, because you're going to love all these photos. And I don't know if it's the fact that they've never had good photos taken of themselves, or they might have gone to a photographer who didn't know how to work with pets or to work with children. They say, don't work with kids or pets. That's exactly what we do. But we are patient. We're going to be more patient than the parents. If you've got a dog that behaves at home, chances are they may not behave in public, or vice versa, right? They might be really shy with other people. We don't care. We will lay on the floor and we will wait. We will make all kinds of noises. We'll make idiots of ourselves, whether it's a dog or a pet, to get a dog or a pet, a dog or a kid, to get their attention, right? The amount of times that there's somebody jumping around behind you. But lost my train of thought.
Expensive.
But we're not cheap, but we're worth it.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that there is a photographer for everybody.
Absolutely.
And this is kind of one of those things is, in the photographer world, this is talking to the photographers out there, you don't have to hate other photographers because they're making more money than you. And you don't have to hate photographers who are new or using the newest camera or whatever. It's like we're all out here doing something. We're all out here just, doing the thing. And if we're not the studio for you, you can find another photographer, and not meaning that in a negative way. Find somebody who will meet the needs that you have. If your needs are money, if that's your only interest, if that's your only proposition point, then find the one that works for you. But if you're looking for an experience, and not just our experience of knowing what we're doing, but the experience. Mm-hmm. People come in here and they laugh and they have a good time. Sometimes they cry. This
is like therapy. The amount of times that people have sat on that couch and be like,
they tell you a story that maybe the only person they've ever told it to is a therapist.
Yeah.
And
we had somebody the other day say, I've never admitted that to anybody before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or had certain types of breakthroughs or recalibrations of their own self-image or self-worth. And it's because it isn't just about us taking pictures with people. It's about connecting and making sure that the pictures that we're taking are the right pictures for those people.
So we see you.
Yeah, we see you.
Yeah, we do. And I think too, we are a full service studio. We're not just going to have you come in and then send you a gallery and be done. Like from the time that we pick up the phone, like I said, until the time that you pick up your artwork, we are full service. Not everybody wants full service. Not everybody wants framed artwork. Not everybody wants canvases. But there are a lot of people out there who do, and we do it really well.
Something along the lines of like, we see you. So it's just like, it's a good clip.
Just say it. Just say it. Just say it over and over again. We see you. We see you. We see you.
No, because now it doesn't feel genuine.
Yeah.
We see you.
That's fair.
Who do you see, Debbie?
Everybody.
You!
I see dead people.
Authentically, genuinely, you.
I see dead
We're
people.
just being...
Are you dead? Because I don't know.
That's, you can,
I literally see every pore in your
eyelashes.
on your skin. Eyelashes. I know that you have one gray eyebrow. I see it.
I have to warn people, these cameras are so good. We're taking pictures of people, and I'm like, okay, I'm about to hit the magnify button, and when it does, it's going to zoom in really close, probably your eyeball or your nose. And then you do it, and people are like, whoa, yeah, it did, yeah, because we have to get in that close. We're taking very high resolution photos with very good lighting, and so we're going to see everything. But it's a good place to start, you know, because there's a whole business of people out there taking blurry photos. Yeah. You know, good for them. You know, if I take a blurry photo, it's probably not going to make the cut. Yeah. But
I do it on purpose, though.
Yeah, I wiggle my camera like.
I do it on purpose.
Yeah. No, I meant with the diopter.
Yeah.
Yeah, style. But there's a part that is in absolute focus.
Oh, absolute focus. Yeah.
But yeah, so you have to warn people sometimes, like, hey, when we zoom in on this, it's going to, we're going to see all the little hairs, and and it was funny because that was when I knew that I needed to teach my son how to pluck his or shave the little thing. Really? Yeah, he's about 11 or so, and I had taken a photo and I zoomed in. I was like, oh, he's got some little hairs there. We're going to need to. I had this at night. I was like, okay, you got to take your razor and like once a week go right there.
I was going to say.
Tweezers.
Yeah. No, but this dude's just shave it. Just go zip right there.
I've never heard that. Razors.
And put clippers on it.
Razor burn.
Yeah, no kidding.
Let's see what else. So, what's that? Okay. Okay, we'll talk about Ashley while she's gone. So, on social media, what's the thing that you hope people see when they find you on social media?
When they find me on social media, I want them to see that we are able to photograph all different kinds of people, different kinds of skin tones, different sizes, just like and different kinds of, like, from families to individuals to pets and headshots. I want them to be able to see all of that. I want them to be able to see how much fun it is. I really want them to be able to see the quality of our work as well. So,
if you could compare yourself to a brand or a brand that you would want to be compared to, what would it be?
I don't know.
Is it like a fancy brand? You want to be like Tiffany or Coach or Birka bags?
Who could be a...
I'm a dude. I don't know if it's good or not.
I'm not really a...
Chanel No. 5.
I think Tiffany's is good. Tiffany's is good. Tiffany's isn't like it's not the most expensive, but it's definitely not cheap. It's an investment.
Yeah.
It's something that you might need to save up for a little bit, or for like a special occasion or a once in a lifetime even. Some people go to Tiffany's all the time, but then some people, but it's worth that wait for that little blue bag. Mm-hmm. My personality was a color. Blue's my favorite color. But if I was a personality color... See, when I think of blue, I think cold. Mm-hmm. I am always cold. But I think it's the fact that you're always hot and you keep the AC on.
I do.
I don't know.
I see it was like a sunset orange.
See, I was going to say, I would never wear orange or yellow, but I feel like...
Yeah, it could be that, I mean, I think the same. I think I am my personality would be a kind of a red.
Black?
Like a red, I think. Mm-hmm. I think because it is, because I mean, I just feel like I've got like a furnace going on in all the time.
I feel like I'm kind of chill and well, unless you want me to pay 20 cents.
Unless you want, freaking McDonald's, 20 cents extra for lemonade.
I feel like I'm very passive, and so I'm just kind of mellow and go with whatever.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like I'm always just like, as soon as I wake up, it's like the furnace is already going, and I just can't stop thinking. I can't stop. If I was to ever retire, I wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. He's just going to wander off into the woods one day.
Yeah, when I'm done, it's just like I'm just going to go take a long walk and just wait for the engine to turn off, and then that's it. I just want it to not be like just some, random thing. I want it to be on my own terms. Yeah. When my
it's going to be so freaking random.
It is. It's probably going to be on the toilet.
Yeah. Yes.
Damn it, Charles.
My pants down around the leg, be like, "Oh no, I'm dying!"
Don't do it here.
Charles way to die.
I don't know. That'll probably be at some gas station somewhere. But no, my grandfather, he was dying, and he was in the hospital, and because the pastor was talking about it at the funeral, and it pissed me off, because the pastor was saying that as Bud was, really near. He kept saying he wanted his clothes, right? He's like, just give me my clothes. Let me put my clothes on. And the pastor was saying, he was saying that he wanted the clothes of Jesus to wrap him. Mm-hmm. I was like, no, he wanted his fucking blue jeans.
Yeah.
He wanted his blue jeans, and he wanted his flannel shirt, and he wanted his boots on, because that's what he wore for 70 whatever years.
It made him feel like himself.
Yeah. And I told my wife, I said, if I'm in the hospital and I tell you to get me my fucking clothes, you better give me my fucking clothes.
Yeah.
Because I tell you, you've been sick. Sometimes it's just a matter of get up, take a shower, put some clothes on, and go somewhere. Mm-hmm. It's like,
My dad was like, I flew back to Australia when my dad got really sick, and they weren't expecting him to come out of the hospital, and I show up and he's literally sitting there with nothing, and he's like, I told you not to come home, Deb. But his thing he would say was, nothing that a shit shower and shave can't fix.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yep. Okay. Well, on that note, we'll wrap it up.
What is that? A shit shower and shave can't fix.
Thanks, Debbie. We'll have to do the other stuff later.
Oh no, I just now turned it on.